My name's Blackwell. I've lost 200 pounds thanks to the training and guidance of Ryan Motter and his program. My story basically started with friends and family, loved ones coming to me with some hard conversations where life was at the time, where it was headed, and having to make decisions of if I was happy with that, what I wanted in the future, professionally and personally. Basically, Ryan was also training my family for several years that I remember. So they recommended Ryan, and I basically started with that, just, hey, I'll show up, I'll give it a shot. Eventually worked up to the promise to myself, to Ryan, look, I will show up. Between work, I was going to school full time for a few years, that I was at a mental place where I couldn't handle thinking about anything else. So that was part of the deal. I'll show up, tell me what to do. That's what led to the success. Plus with all of his personal, professional guidance, because there's a lot more that goes on besides just the weight loss and health and physical that also goes into the mental aspect as well. There's only so much at the physical part, but unraveling all the other, the health, the eating, the habits, why you got to where you are, try to undo some of those unhealthy habits and learning to occupy yourself in more healthy ways. It got to a point where I would show up at Ryan's place and I looked at it more as a report card, that if I didn't continue with his training at home and my personal time, that I don't want to show up and embarrass myself or frustrate him of what are we doing this for. I think when we started out it was every week, and then I think we started with I asked him for some of the nutritional info, gave me a whole list, do this, do that. Maybe to his chagrin, I picked maybe 2 or 3 of them and went with it, because another part that I found was things that you could keep repeatable, scalable, especially talking with food and being busy. It's easier to get maybe some of the less healthier options, but it's on the list. I can do this, it's repeatable, it's scalable, I can keep this up every day. About 2 years, yeah. First month or 2 is probably the hardest, because in my experience anyway, it was that at least my body didn't want to let go for a while. And then the train just started rolling. Short version of my experience, if this is what you want, this is who I used. My friend or my family used him, I used him, here's my results, here's my family's results. My dad's 70 plus, still climbing the mountains, do all kinds of crazy stuff. I think a big part of that is to help with Ryan. Just show up. Ryan Motter changed my life. No, absolutely not. And I think a big part of that would be the confidant trust things that I spoke to before, of whatever else I was going through, because there were a lot of moving parts outside of all the physical stuff. Food was also a way of coping. Happy, sad, angry, mad. Food was always the answer for many years, and there's a lot to undoing that. And I think I have learned you can outpace your diet, and I think that the physical and working out is much more of a complement. So to your point, in working with Ryan, there were quite a few times you're like, hey, I saw this guy on YouTube, what do you think? And ways to enhance what I was doing with him, or no, and this is what I don't agree with, or because there's lots of other very intense personalities out there. So it's not something that you can just look up on YouTube as a sole source, because you're missing that guidance. Yeah, so I'd say, when I started with Ryan, he had a very limited window to try and identify what I could latch onto. So I think we first started walking, which, the real world part of that is at that size, 416 pounds, walking was a workout. And through that course of 2 years, it got to that point where, I hate it. If I can do this in the morning, that's the worst part of my day. And I would do it intentionally because I hated it. Ryan, was trying to find different things, ended up with tire flipping. I remember specifically, I took a vacation being down 35 pounds, and I was proud. I want to say that maybe that took 2 months. But by that time, like I said earlier, it takes a while where nothing happens, and you're like, really doubting yourself, is this worth it? And again, just trying to trust yourself, trust Ryan with the deal. And eventually, I think, or at least my body was like, all right, things aren't the same anymore, and it starts letting go. So I'd say maybe the second stage, I'm not sure how many stages there were, but they were all different stages of how fast your body would let go of these things. And that's kind of when it's fun Sometimes it's difficult because you start getting attention, you get compliments. Some of the latter stages, yeah, getting more physical so I can get out of just being able to walk. Now we can move stuff around. Sometimes we can move heavy stuff around. You'd feel those results physically, mentally, and I'd say it probably took about a year and a half maybe, till I started getting comfortable with what I was coming to learn, the new version of me, and picking up where some ways I could say I left off 20 years ago. Number one, show up. Not to just go through the motions, but show up to make it a repeatable, make new habits, healthier habits. Two, be open, real with yourself, and learn to trust him. Three, be real with yourself and start to make decisions where you can find small wins every day. My name's Donald Blackwell. I lost 200 pounds thanks to Ryan Motter and his program. I'd say part of that is just showing up, learning how to be vulnerable with yourself and trusting him, and realizing that it's not just about the physical workouts, but leveraging him and his program. And now he can help you too.